Welcome everyone to Flip It Curiously. I am Tony of Flip It Downside Up. Joining me as always is my good friend and co-host.
Hey guys, I'm Brennan, the Curious Picker.
Yes, he is. We are both part-time resellers, and we enjoy the adventure of hunting for treasures at garage sales, thrift stores, online, and even through people that we know. We purchase items that people believe have a downside, and we sell them for a profit on eBay and other platforms to people who believe they have an upside and will pay a premium for those items. So our goal all along on this podcast was for us to have a good time, to be able to converse, but also educating our listeners, whether you're resellers or not, whether you're full-time, part-time, kind of time, anything, we just want to do our best to educate and provide something that's entertaining for you to listen to while you're working or whatever it is you're doing. We like to talk about life, which we have a lot to talk about today. Mm-hmm. And also, we love to share great local beers.
I think you said it perfectly there, Tony. So welcome back, guys. It is Wednesday. It is July 21st. And yes, we are still alive. I know it's been probably almost a month or so since our last podcast came out, but like Tony said, lots of things about life have gotten in the way of the podcast here, but we'll talk through a lot of that stuff, and we'll get back into the groove here. So thank you guys very much again for joining us. We really do appreciate it. I believe this is episode 12, mm-hmm. Which is really cool. So I think we're in talking with this one guy that does this other podcast. I think he said we'll probably surpass their number of podcasts within, a couple of months with our current rate. So We'll try to keep that up, try to keep giving you guys something to listen to.
Absolutely.
As always, before we get started, we like to kick it off with a segment called Sip It. And I didn't ask you, Tony, if you actually had something you were going to be sipping.
I do.
All right. Let's get the sound from Tony.
Do it.
That was good.
Good. Okay, so I'll start off with what I'm drinking here, and I believe that you have already discussed this one once, but this one is good enough to talk about again. This is from a brewery. I guess I forgot we do this on YouTube too, so I can show this, even though it probably is up. Taft's is in Cincinnati, correct?
Yes.
Because Taft's is a big, because I think I've been to the Taft Theater down there as well.
Yep.
Taft.
I don't think they're the same thing.
No?
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
I wondered if if that was a big name in Cincinnati and it's just been used.
Yeah, it is.
Is this the president? Wait.
Yes, William Howard Taft.
Yeah, is that why there's a fat guy in a bathtub?
That is correct. Fat guy in a bathtub.
Fat guy in a little coat.
Yes.
This is a Taft's United Dairy Farmers. This is a collaboration with them. It's a milkshake IPA. And Brennan, you've had this, and I have been drinking this here the last couple of weeks. This is delightful. It is so good.
It is delicious.
It's clearly a beer. It's clearly an IPA, but it's sweet, and it's got that little bit of it's a little bit milky, I would say. It's really smooth, and man, I can drink this as if it's not a beer, and that's when things get scary.
That could be a little dangerous. I think it's got the lactose in it to give it that milk shake type of flavor.
Yep, India Pale Ale with lactose, brewed and canned by Taft's Brewing Company in Cincinnati, Ohio. And this is a 6.6% alcohol. Was that ABV? Alcohol by volume. So yeah, good stuff. What do you have tonight, sir?
Very nice. So tonight we're going up north. We've got Great Lakes.
Nice.
Hazecraft IPA. Juicy, tropical, and hazy, 6.7%. Now I've actually put it into glass today, so we're going with the Pollos Hermanos glass. And again, this is not a a film or TV podcast, but I will say that I've restarted so I just finished rewatching all of Breaking Bad for like the third time. It still holds up. It's fantastic. And I just started again on Better Call Saul, and I'm enjoying it a lot more the second time through than I did the first time. Just throwing that out there. Great stuff. Looking forward to the last season of that coming out soon too.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, I mean, the content. So for me, the content of Breaking Bad, I certainly don't support and condone. However, for me, surprisingly, that is, I believe, the best show I've ever watched. The way it's written, the way it's filmed, the storyline, the arc, it's incredible. And if you can stomach some of it, if you're okay with vulgarity and violence and things like that, and you haven't watched it, I'd highly recommend it. That's probably, I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite of all time, but it is the best show I've ever watched.
I would tend to agree. I think it is probably the best show that I've ever watched. I will say, if you haven't watched it and you start watching it, you do want to have what we would call a chaser to watch after it. So, if you watch a couple episodes, maybe find yourself a little Office or Parks and Rec, something light,
Yeah,
something light to kind of, balance you out, because it does get very dark.
Yeah,
but it's so well done.
there's, I find myself, or I have in the past found myself having issues watching some shows where I get depressed if I watch them too long. And one of those is Shameless. I don't know if you've watched Shameless, but it's a good show. I like it. It's just watching these people struggle, and the things, the decisions that they make and what they're living in. It would get me so depressed that I'd have to stop watching for a long period of time. I went for like a year where I didn't watch some of it, and then I started again. And so it's just, one of those things where, yeah, sometimes you need a comedy chaser or a pick me up after watching some shows and movies. But especially if you're binging a series, Breaking Bad, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. See, my wife loves the crime dramas and the serial killer stuff.
Oh, me too.
Which is, it's too much for me. So
I gotta take a break every once in a while, but
I have to take a break every episode. So we watch one, and
I'm way into that stuff. Not I enjoy watching and like, because I'm thinking about like, okay, what's happening, and I always hate when Christy will tell me, oh, I Googled this, we're watching a show and it's based on a true story. She's like, oh, I Googled this. I'm like, shut, don't tell me. If I don't know the story, that's why I'm watching it. That's why I'm still intrigued. I don't want to know what happens at the end. But anyways, so I digress. But let's I guess transition out of our shows.
Let's get on topic here. Let's get on task.
There's so much to talk about. So we've clearly, the last time I believe we posted an episode was the 28th of June. And if I'm not mistaken, was that, I think we went ahead and did that on a Monday. Let me look.
Sounds right.
Typically we do. Yeah, it was on a Monday. We recorded that either the 22nd or the 24th, and I'm not 100% sure which day it was. So it has been literally almost a month, but there's been some reasons. So on the 25th, 24th, 25th, my family and I were down in the Cincinnati area in Mason, Ohio, at Great Wolf Lodge, which is a resort and water park. And when we were down there, your family and John, Cincinnati Pickers family, and my family, we got together on Friday of that week for a little cookout. And it was a great time to be able to hang out together. But some things happened, and that was the start of the delays of the podcast. So Brendan, tell everybody kind of what went on, like literally as you're getting ready to cook the burgers.
Yeah. So as I'm prepping the grill, my son comes upstairs and said, "Hey, Dad, it smells really bad in the basement." I'm like, like what? Just really bad. So I go down there and we've got what they call a soft clog overflow. That is the technical term for it. Basically, we had, sewage coming up out of our old drain pipe there that had unfortunately got under the basement floorboards. And yeah, it was awesome. It was really, really great timing. I think I tried to start cleaning it up right away.
Yeah.
While people were still at the house,
Yeah.
and I gave up after I filled up. I filled up the what do they call those damn things? The
Wet back.
yes, the wet vac. I filled up the wet vac like 3 times in a matter of like seconds, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I gave up. Yeah, I gave up. We ended up calling in Roto-Rooter. They didn't come out, and they weren't able to make it out until I think it was 2 days after that.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
So they came, they fixed the clog, and then all the fun really started after that. But yeah, so it's the clog is clear.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell anymore.
It's good.
A lot of stuff's been ripped up. There's a lot of more work to do, but that part of it is over. So I'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start another YouTube channel
Right.
about basement remodeling. So we'll see. So
Well,
that's my excuse.
Yeah,
One of my excuses.
So that was week 1. So what happened then is you guys were displaced, and we're with John and his family for a couple days after, like not a couple, like the weekend and a couple days, correct?
Yeah, we pretty much stayed at their house that almost that entire week.
Yeah.
Because it was so hot here, and because of where everything came up,
Yeah.
right next to the air conditioner.
Yep.
If you turn the air conditioning on, you get
permeation.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we stayed there for almost that whole entire week. We came back home on, I think, Thursday night because we were heading on vacation Friday.
Right.
So
the timing, you've got, we finally got to get together, and all that happened. And then that thwarted like that whole next week. And then you guys left on vacation, and you just returned this past Saturday or no, Sunday.
Yeah, we got back on Sunday.
Yep. On Sunday. So Brennan was out in you're in
Arizona
West, right? You're in Arizona. What parts of Arizona did you guys visit while you were out there?
Primarily, we stayed in Sedona. We stayed in Phoenix the first night and the last night because we flew out of Phoenix. So we stayed in Phoenix the 2 nights. So stayed in Sedona, and sorry, had to burp. And we went to, I would say we went to 6 national monuments while we were out there. So we hit quite a lot. We hit the Grand Canyon. We hit Tuzagut Saguaro National Park, Montezuma's Castle, Walnut Creek Canyon, and I think there was one other one in there. So we did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We stayed on the move, but we also got a lot of relaxing in and
good
whatnot as well. So it was a great time.
I thought it
highly recommend it.
And as you were sending me pictures and stuff, I'm like, that's a place where my family, we need to go. I've never been any further west than St. Louis. And so I have not ever been out that way. And so I'd like to experience that at some point.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. The one that made me laugh is you sent a picture of the boys kind of like flexing or something or posing up on that little cliff. And you're like, we're out for a little hike. And then like 2 hours later, you texted me, you're like, that little hike wasn't so little.
Yeah, that's a good story, actually, since we survived.
Oh God.
Yeah. So we're in Sedona, and there's this place called Airport Mesa. Again, if you ever go out to Sedona, Airport Mesa is a really cool place. It's nice, a nice hike. I think they do the stargazing from there. That's a
Oh,
good place for the sunset and
I
the
bet that would
stargazing.
be beautiful.
So we went there and we did the little trail down to that place where I showed you the picture. So they're standing on top of, I forgot the name of the rock there, but it's supposed to be a vortex, so like healing type stuff. And you can see a lot of the Sedona Mountains in the background. And since this is on YouTube, I guess I can throw a picture up so you don't have to look at me or Tony.
Right.
You can look at that at this point.
Right.
And so we get down there, and then there's a sign that says Airport Loop. So we're like, well, it's a loop. We parked at the top of the airport, so this has to take us back where we came. No,
Nay.
it did not. It did not.
Oh.
It looped all the way back around. So what we thought was going to be maybe another half-mile hike back to the car turned into a 3.2-mile hike back to that point. And then I left them there and took the hike back up the hill to get the car because they were all spent. So yeah, it was a lot more than we planned for, but it was it was a good bonding family experience.
For sure. Now, was your mother-in-law there as well?
She did not do that.
Okay.
No.
Thank God, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That
That would have been. This might be a whole different conversation.
right.
Had she had to go
Follow the
through that one.
buzzards or something, like
Yeah,
goodness.
that would have been very tough for her. Very, very tough for her. So
Been tough for me.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was we made it. That's all I can say is we made it.
Well, I'm glad you guys are back. I'm glad you guys had a good time. So what happened, what ended up happening to me over that weekend before you left, and I'm still dealing with, is a severe double ear infection. I've got terrible ear infections. I get ear infections all the time, and it never hurts. And this has been incredibly painful. I've taken antibiotics. I paid $80 for a little eardrop thing, and they're not right still. So I wear hearing aids. I've got a lot of hearing problems. I have a perforation in my left eardrum. So what happened is at the water park, water got into my ear, and because I've got the perforation, ended up behind my ear and caused a pretty bad infection. So I've got that. I've got that perforation, and I also have issues behind my ear already with my mastoid. And the mastoid's like, I believe, the bone behind the ear, or like in the inner ear, like in your head. And so what's happening, and what was happening before, and they're concerned with even more now. 2 years ago, I went and had a CAT scan done about what was going on in there, and I had the recommendation was to get the tympanoplasty, I think is what it's called, where you put you get your the hole in the eardrum, or the perforation gets patched, but also a mastoidectomy, which means that they're going to drill in the back of my head, which is why it's been 2 years, and I don't want to do it, but I'm going to have to. I think what's happening is I've got this, like, I'll just call it poison, basically eroding the bone behind my ear. That needs cleaned out, and it's on both ears. So sometime here in the next couple months, I think I'm going to end up having a surgery on my ears,
Yikes.
which is scary to me because my hearing was already bad, and music's such an important part of my life that if I lose more hearing, I know he said that it's it's one of those things where you could lose hearing, but you typically don't. But you never know. So Monday morning, the 26th here coming up, I've got another CAT scan. They're going to see if it has gotten worse. It was already trending towards the part of my bone, the part of the ear back there that controls your balance. And he's like, "Have you had any issues with balance?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I have. I feel like I always have, really." I said, "There's a reason I don't go on ladders, and I'm a painter." So, anyways, that's coming up, and it's kind of a scary thing for me, but also something that maybe could give me some relief.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that that's that's something I don't have to worry about much after that happens. So that's coming up. That happened while you were gone, and then you want to
That's a
talk
lot.
about life even more. It was about 10 o'clock on July 9th, Friday the 9th. We had friends down from Michigan. They hadn't seen us since August of 2019. So they came down and they were at the house. They got there. Thank God they got there earlier. She found out that she didn't have to work that day, so they could come down a little earlier. And so thank God they did, because 10 o'clock comes, Christy puts Luca to bed. She comes downstairs, goes down in the basement. I thought she was just doing laundry, but she was calling the midwife at the hospital because of the way she was feeling. And so she comes up and says, we have to go to the hospital. The midwife thinks I'm in labor. Okay, well, it's the 9th and her due date is August 2nd. So we went to the hospital, and we got there at 10 o'clock. I say we got to the hospital about 10 o'clock, and by 1 o'clock, or 10, 11, 12, by 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, we had been admitted and had a room. She was clearly in labor.
Wow.
So yeah, come 11:50 a.m. on Saturday, the 10th of July, our daughter was born 3 weeks early, 6 pounds, 6 ounces, very healthy, no issues at all. So we're very blessed to have her. So that's been the last 2 weeks now. I've been off of work, helping around the house the best I can, while also doing some things with the reselling that we'll talk about too. So it's just so interesting how life has kind of perpetuated all these things. Like,
Yeah.
here we are, and we've had people ask when the next episodes are. I saw a post on the RVA Flips water cooler, or whatever the heck that called, last night, asking about podcasts, and there was a gentleman who, if you're listening, see if I can pull up your name. I think it was Frank. Yeah, Frank mentioned our podcast. So Frank, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
Mhm.
And then, well, somebody asked what a podcast was. Oh gosh. And then
It's
also Dustin, Foster the Picker. He also recommended ours on that thread. So that was pretty cool. It's cool to see that. But here we are recording again. And I'm going to go into, we've got a listener question, actually.
all right. Let's hear it.
All right, let me open this up here. It says, "Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time emailer. I've got a question for you. I've heard both of you mention that you'd possibly like to quit your jobs and become full-time resellers. Do you have a target date for that? And what do you think will be the biggest obstacles to doing it? Keep up the great work. John."
I know, John.
I do too.
That is a very good question. I'll take it first.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever said that I wanted to quit my job.
Right.
First, listener, just in case anyone out there is is listening. I have mentioned that I would like to do this full time at a point, as a pseudo retirement type deal.
Right.
So for me, again, the company that I work for, I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of flexibility, and I make a good living. And at this point for me, it would not make sense to quit my job to go full time. Now, if something happened, where I lost my job, that would be, that'd be a different story. Then I would go, okay, well, maybe it's time to just go ahead and dive in and do it full time.
You'd be in a very good position with the reselling.
Right. Yep. It's a nice little fallback back there. But at this point, it would not make sense for me to leave my job. I enjoy my job. I enjoy what I
Yeah.
do at this point.
Yeah.
Once it gets to the point where I no longer, can stomach it or enjoy it, that's probably when. But at this point, we have some things that we're working towards getting done that
Right.
have to be done prior to me making that type of a move. So
Yeah.
got some things got to check off, and we'll revisit it then. But at this point, I do not have a drop dead date. Also, because now my wife wants to move to Arizona, and I love Sedona, but it's really freaking expensive. So I may never get to quit working. So we'll see.
It's a dry heat.
It is. You know what? I will say, I was so nervous about the heat because it's the middle of July. No one goes to Arizona in the middle of July. Uh,
You
but
did.
I did, and if you choose to do so, go to Sedona, Flagstaff, Grand Canyon, stay north. You should be fine. I mean, the weather was fantastic
Yeah.
in Sedona. It was, high of 89, 90, nothing crazy at all.
I
And
mean,
it is a dry heat.
we had
Yeah,
some of
no
those
humidity.
with
Yeah,
humidity.
it was no worse. It was no worse in Cincinnati, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll say that it was better. So
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. You definitely have a really good situation with your employer. Um, I do have a question for you about that. You're currently working from home, correct?
yep,
Is that
yep.
something you were doing prior to as well, or is that a change that has happened since the pandemic?
That was a change since the pandemic. Now, being in IT, I had the option. I've always had the option to work at least 2 days from home.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I never had a home schedule. I liked being in the office. Um, so I would only work from home if we've got someone coming over to do something and we need someone to be here.
Right.
So I would do it then at that time. But yeah, since the pandemic, it's been 100% at home,
Yeah.
and yeah, we'll see how that proceeds
Yeah.
as we move forward. So I would imagine a lot of us will continue working from home. I think not just my company. I think in general
Yeah. I
companies
think
have.
it makes. I personally think it makes a lot of sense financially.
It does. It makes sense from a financial standpoint, as well as it shrinks your talent pool.
Mhm.
Or no, I'm sorry, it doesn't shrink your talent pool. It expands your talent pool, because now, you're not locked to Cincinnati, Indiana, Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
You can hire from all over the place. You can hire from California and let people stay in California. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this progresses throughout the next couple of years. I'm very curious to see how it works out.
Definitely, you would be curious.
Always
Um,
curious. Always curious.
so this question was sent the day after we recorded. It was sent the 23rd. We recorded the 22nd because when we were at the house, he's like, "Hey, I sent you a question. Did you see it?" And he knew that I was really frustrated going into that little trip down to Mason. Things didn't go well at work on Thursday. Really didn't go well. So John brought me some beer, which was nice. um, um, but so we had some conversations that evening and have continued that conversation. And for me, looking at this question, I have a good employer. Uh, it's a very small company. My boss is a good friend of mine. Um, but I'm to a point where the potential of the reselling outweighs the potential that I could make there, um, in my opinion, and is a lot less stressful and has more flexibility. So I've talked with you a lot about it. I've talked with my family. I've talked with Christy. I've talked with John a whole lot about it. Um, And so I am off this week, and then next week I'm working. But I am going to, over the weekend here, let my boss know that that I'm going to be done. And there are some things I'm going to offer to continue on as an independent contractor when necessary, when needed, and also to do some of the jobs that I helped to bring in, sell, and some of the ones for repeat customers who are probably expecting me as well. So I'm at a point where I am going to make that transition to full time, and I'm really, really excited about it. I've got a um, ton of support from all the way around, and I think that the potential is huge
Yep.
for me there. I think for the amount of time I have put in and the sales I have had, um, I think that I think that it's I think it's a no-brainer for me at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be making that
Yeah.
change relatively soon. And so when I said that these last 2 weeks I've been at the house and helping with the baby, but also doing other things reselling related, it's been trying to figure out how to situate and organize and get rid of dead stock dead stock items
Mhm.
that are just not worth selling, not worth my time to list, bad buys, things like that. So I've been doing a ton of that stuff, and I'm working in a I'll say relatively small for what I would like to do. I like space and I like to have things organized. And right now it is just not organized, but it's getting there. And I've been spending a lot of hours. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning, the 2 of the last 3 nights, or mornings, I guess, working down here, listing. I've had 35 listings in the last 2 days. I'm really happy with that.
Heck yeah. That's
Um,
awesome.
None yet tonight, but I'm going to do some, I think, once everybody's asleep, just to, and only a handful. I'm not going to try to beat myself up today. Um, but yeah, so that's my news, is that I'm going to officially make that transition to full-time reseller. And if there are any full-time resellers out there listening that have any advice, would be willing to reach out and just say hello and be someone that could listen when I go through these. Um, I would appreciate that. The one thing that's been really cool is John has really pushed me in terms of trying to be an accountability partner. I know you usually talk about that when it comes to like addictions or something, but
Right.
when it comes to starting a business, especially with this, for me, I'm going to talk about that. What's the biggest obstacle? And that's going to be keeping yourself motivated and time management. And what better way to do that than to have somebody that is keeping you accountable, that does this full time, who does it
Mhm.
very successfully. And so that's been really helpful to get me started and to get me into the mindset of what's it going to be like every day. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Um, I would say we're 42 minutes in. I think we've buried the lead like twice with you having a new baby and going out on this full-time reseller adventure.
I
So
mean,
congrats on both.
thank
I
you.
think
Thank you.
that's really really cool. Um, glad to be a part of that and to
Yeah.
kind of know these things that are going on. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. You guys have both been very good friends through all of this, and it's been tough.
I
It's been a tough couple of weeks. I know you had a tough, I know you had your vacation, but before that, man,
It was not fun.
that was a tough
Uh,
week.
not fun, but I don't know. Like it sucked, but we were we were able to make the best out of it, right? So like I said, we stayed with John and his wife, so my sister-in-law, um, and our kids. They've obviously we're family. We've been together for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So being able to stay there and playing games every night and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you know what? This is like a
Yeah.
family staycation. So we
It was
definitely made the
something
best of
different,
it.
something different too. The kids,
Yeah.
if you think about it, think about the pandemic, man. How, how often have the kids have been able to get out and go stay somewhere else, and
Yeah.
you've been in your house for a year and change. And
Yep.
so, anyways, John, we thank you for the question. Interesting that you would ask that question when you did,
Yeah.
because
Serendipitous.
maybe that got me thinking, but uh, I had thought about it before, but then just some frustrations that had gone on for me personally. It made it to the point where I really needed to think about it, and I started looking at numbers, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this. This is definitely possible. So anyways, we appreciate your question. If anybody has a question for us, I'm going to go ahead and just let people know how to connect with us. So if you have a question, any comments, suggestions, anything like that, please email us at flipitcuriously@gmail.com. Also, we have our buymeacoffee.com/flipitcuriously. And for that, we have our first sponsor. We have our first couple of beers that have been donated to us. So
Nice.
Dustin Foster the Picker, who listens to us, we met at the Reseller Rally. He is in Marion, Ohio, and he and I have been in conversation just on Instagram and stuff, and he's donated us $10 to our beer fund, so we appreciate that.
Heck yeah.
And Dustin, anybody wants to go check him out, Foster the Picker on YouTube. Yeah, good stuff. So thank you, Dustin.
Yeah. Thank you, Dustin.
This one's free.
Cheers. This one's on you.
That's right. This one's on you.
I didn't realize he was in Marion. So I think you mentioned that Dustin said if I wanted to get my butt kicked in some frisbee golf, he was game. Is that accurate?
I think that's what it said in the email.
Okay. Okay.
I know because he said it. Let's see. It says, "Cheers to the great podcast." Also, Brennan, anytime you want your butt kicked in disc golf, let me know. Thanks for keeping me entertained while listening. P.S. Dog check.
Very nice.
Good.
Yeah, we need to get out and play. I
want to learn. I played at your house a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think I could enjoy that.
I'm not doubting that Dustin would kick my butt. So I'm going to say, let's get together and maybe you can teach me a thing or two.
There you go.
And I can get a little bit better at it. But yeah, that'd be fantastic. Maybe we can figure out some way of doing a reseller disc golf outing. So
there we go.
Any resellers listening that are local,
right? Southern Ohio,
yeah,
or just Ohio, Kentucky.
Ohio, Kentucky. Send us an email and maybe we'll try to figure that out. That'd be cool.
That would actually be a lot of fun. And so I know you've got stuff, but they have courses and stuff. So
yes, I just have a basket. We need a
basket. John's got one too, right?
Yeah, we do have one at the shop now, which is awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, Brennan, where can people follow you on social media? What's the best outlet for them to follow you?
Best outlets are going to be YouTube, The Curious Picker. And again, thanks to everyone that's subscribed out there. I've over 5,100 subs right now, which is really cool. I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah.
Also, Instagram, The Curious Picker, and Facebook at Brennan Blackwell or The Curious Picker. Feel free to send me a friend request. I am not guaranteeing that I will accept you. So just letting that be known right now. It's not a guarantee, but I can guarantee you won't be accepted if you don't try. So
yeah, that's true. That's a good way to put it.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where you can find myself. And how about you, Tony?
All right. So I've got Instagram, flipitdu, and I'm really happy. I just posted my 100th post here recently. And I've only been on Instagram here since January. I started at the beginning of the year because I thought I'd like to do more with my reselling. And I've got I'm up to 342 followers. I'm happy with that. It's not a ton, but for just starting and trying to get my name out there, I've had a bunch of followers here in the last 24 hours. So that was really nice. So follow me on Flip It DU on Instagram. And then the one that I've been really pushing, I had a really good start on YouTube. Flip It Downside Up is my channel name. If you'd like to subscribe, I sure wouldn't. I sure wouldn't stop you from subscribing. So I had 50 subscribers in the first 2 weeks, which I thought was really good. And then because of the baby, I didn't get a video out, and I'm just stuck at I was stuck at about 75. I got 2 in the last 24 hours. So I'm up to 70 or 2 or 3. I'm up to 78 right now. It's not a lot. I'm trying to push. I was hoping to push in that first month to 100. That was my goal. And then when the baby happened, when she was born early, I didn't have anything ready to do videos, and it just didn't work out. So, no big deal. So my goal is 100. If you're listening and you would like to support me, I sure wouldn't mind if you subscribed and checked out my content. So yeah, those are the two places to follow me. And then also, I kind of forget sometimes, we are now on, because we only have one video, but we are now on YouTube as well with the podcast, Flip It Curiously.
Good stuff.
And we got 15 subscribers on that, and we've only posted one video, and they're like 2 hours long. So
yeah,
15 subscribers, we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And and one of the other things that I didn't mention yet, if you haven't noticed your podcast or on the YouTube channel, we have a logo.
Logo is awesome.
We have a logo. A guy I work with, Matt, put together this logo. He put a couple concepts together for us, and Brendan and I came together and picked this logo. And I think it works perfectly for what we're doing, what we're trying to do. So yeah, thank you, Matt. We appreciate that. And now that's our brand. If you see that, that's the podcast. So, you don't have to look at my logo anymore. Now you can look at a non-pixelated version of our actual logo. So,
which is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that logo. That was very cool of him to reach out and be willing to do that for us as well. So
very cool. Yeah, it was funny because he's a pretty quiet guy, and he was talking. He's like, so I did some research. I listened to some of your podcasts, and then he's like, and then I went on YouTube. He's like, and then I got sucked into YouTube, and I started watching these videos of the Cincinnati Picker. And so awesome. I told John, and he's like, that is awesome.
Yeah, that is so cool.
So, and look, that's why John, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from what I saw this morning, I think he has 199,000 subscribers now. So he's right on that doorstep to 200K, and that is amazing.
That is really amazing. It hasn't been that long.
What did he say? 4 years he's been doing this.
Yeah, like that's fantastic.
Shoot, I'm 77 in a month. I'm like, when did the 100,000 start subscribing to people's channels?
It's all, what's the word? Exponential growth, right? So like the more, sure. I think that exponential growth is really what drives it. And I think to get to that level, you've got to have, I don't know if you have to have, but I would think you've got to have at least a few videos that you somehow get to go viral.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
That gets you, 1 million views, and then you can bring in, you bring in a lot more subs that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah,
he's been grinding, and he's really good at it. And
yes, he is.
And people.
I told him that yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, thanks." And I'm like,
"Yeah."
There's a reason he has that many subscribers. It's not, it's not asking people to subscribe, even though I'm doing that. It's not asking people to, maybe at one point it was, but it's not now. Now it's about his personality. It's about his content. It's about the way in which he holds himself around other people, and the way he treats people. That makes a huge difference. It really does. And as much as I love a lot of other resellers, there's times where I'm like, even myself, I'm like, God, I'm kind of an asshole. Or, like there are times where it's like, I could see where, yeah, that this could turn some people off. And I know even they did a thing on their podcast where they talk about, not mean tweets, but it's basically mean tweets.
Yeah,
It's like
mean
comment.
comments or whatever. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. Someone will think you're doing wrong. Someone will think you're doing it wrong. People will think you're sleazy or a slime bag or whatever. And it's just because of the nature of what it is we are doing.
Yeah.
And
It's, I mean, yeah. So two things. So one, with John, I'd say that he's good enough, he's smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like him.
that's right.
I think that's that's the key for John. But when it comes to the comments, like you said, it's the nature of people, and the nature of the internet. So the comment section on the internet is generally a place you don't run a trend there too often. I feel like that's a special place in hell a lot of times. Um, Luckily for us, the majority of the time we've got lots of good content, lots of good people, lots of good comments. But there's always going to be the naysayers and the haters, for lack of a better term. And the more people that like you,
Mm-hmm.
the more people you'll have that
Sure.
dislike you, which is funny because I'm always like, man, I don't have enough dislikes on my videos. That's there's not enough people watching, right? Because either way, a like or a dislike, at least you're feeling something either way
That's
if
true.
you watch the video. So
And that's so true. So that reminds me of what wrestling, WWE, Vince McMahon knows what he wants. And there was a particular wrestler who is now probably one of the most hated, but like one of the best guys they've got right now is Roman Reigns. And for a lot of years, Roman Reigns, people didn't like him because they felt like Vince McMahon just picked him and just shoved him down our throat. Like he was the chosen one. He's the one that is going to be my star. So here he is. I don't care what you think. This is he's going to be a good guy. Well, now he's finally a heel. He's a bad guy. And it finally makes sense. And he's finally like in his groove and people are accepting him as a top guy. The same thing happened with John Cena when he did his wrestling stuff. Like he was shoved down everybody's throat for all these years. And they're like, I don't like this guy. And so what Vince McMahon has said and kind of his philosophy, at least based on what I have heard and read, is that I don't care what kind of reaction he gets. You can boo them, you can cheer them, as long as he gets a strong reaction. I don't care what that reaction is. And that makes sense now in the entertainment part of it. But if you go back to when like we were kids, or before, not maybe when we were kids, but like the 80s, if you look at that in the 70s, it was clearly about good versus evil.
Yeah.
And you would never want that philosophy. And so when it became more entertainment, that became his philosophy, is as long as people are reacting in some way, the worst thing that could happen is there'd be no reaction. And that's when a guy's career is done, that he's got no chances if there is no reaction. So I completely understand that thought process you've got there with the likes and the dislikes.
Yeah.
I also don't understand why anybody would
dislike.
I guess I've disliked a couple videos every once in a while, but not very often. Maybe once or twice. It's not been often.
I if I have, I don't remember.
Yeah.
What it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
either like it or I don't. But I very rarely will I actually click the dislike button on something.
Yeah. So anyways, all right, so we got that. So I know it's been a little weird. We don't have a featured topic this week. We basically took a lot of time to talk about what the heck's been going on.
Yeah.
So now it's been different because of everything that has been going on, but I'm gonna still go through and see what see what's been going on. So you guys were able to do a little bit of sourcing while you were on your trip. So tell us a little bit about what that was like, especially the very first one,
The
because
very
that
first one.
one to me is like straight out of Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna give a quick timeout. So it's been a while since we've done on this podcast. I'm out of beer. I'm gonna go get another one.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
almost
will.
done.
I will be back.
All right. While Brennan's getting his beer, let's see. What should we do? I don't know. I could show you my workspace so far. Any of you fans of shed flips, garage flips? Let's see if I can do this finger correctly. I bought this from Lonnie several years ago. It used to be hanging right above his door in the shed. I'm an Ohio State master's degree graduate, and I can't stand their football team. I'm an LSU fan. God, I can't do this. There we go. I'm an LSU fan. And so when LSU beat Ohio State for the national championship, it was right. I think it was the year before I went to grad school there. That was tremendous. Um, so when I saw that, I had watched that for a long time in his store, and he had it listed. And I sent him an offer, and it was a pretty, I mean, yeah, it was a pretty low offer. But yeah, I think Lonnie sold me that for $35 right there. So that's my LSU Ohio State national championship. It's handmade. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. 38-24 Ohio State fans. Hope you remember that forever.
That's pretty cool. Are you an Ohio State fan?
I am not.
LSU fan?
I'm an LSU fan. Yeah.
I know Lonnie's LSU.
Yep. I was telling the folks out here in La La Land that that I got my master's at Ohio State.
Oh, nice.
But I'm an LSU fan. I don't like Ohio State's football team, and honestly, it's not the football team I don't like. It's the fans. And it's not everybody. I have lots of friends who are fans. We're in Ohio,
Right.
But the way in which a good portion of those people behave and can't accept when they have lost, or can't accept if they're not really as good as the ranking, and I can't handle that. It's like there is a reality check at some point where you say this team isn't as good as the year. Yeah. So anyways, I have been an LSU fan since 2000, and I think I went down in 2002 or 2003 to Baton Rouge with a friend of mine. And we went to a game against Arkansas at the end of the year, and they annihilated Arkansas. And that was the year LSU beat Oklahoma for the national championship. So I've seen that national championship since I've been a fan. We've got this one against Ohio State, which was super sweet. And then the one Joe Burrow against Clemson, man, that was, I've never seen a season like that. Was so fun. And then football after that has not been fun because it just wasn't as good, and it was a pandemic, and
yeah,
when you lose that much of a team, it's tough.
That is rough.
I will give Ohio State credit, similar to Alabama, as much as I don't like the programs. They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Clemson too, like they know what they're doing, and they are the three of them are the true kings of college football. I will not throw anybody else into that category. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out with the new likeness rights piece of the college game. I'll be very curious to see if that levels any playing fields across schools. Not insinuating that any of these schools are paying players.
You mean
I've
like
heard,
every one of them?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see. I'll be curious to see how that plays out. To me, I mean, it's, again, not a political show, but college football is not an amateur sport any longer. It's $1 billion.
I was going to say the billions of dollars, or the $1 billion that they make. I always had an issue. I will say I always had an issue with people complaining about athletes not getting paid, because I struggled so much and still hold my student loans, even though I was almost a 4.0 student in high school.
Mm.
I still have all these student loans, and I know that people are going there on scholarship, getting full rides, and then going and being able to, not everybody, but some of them
Yeah.
are able to go make money, and they already get everything for free. And so that was always a tough sell for me. But I'm to the point now where if you're good enough and you have the ability to build a brand, I'm so much into that now, like
Yeah. Agreed.
entrepreneurship. And if there's one thing we've learned in this pandemic is that people 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 can only really trust themselves when it comes to employment. Um,
Mm.
at least that's my take on it, and I think that's why so many people are not going back out into the workforce. I had a little bit of a Facebook conversation with people about that today. Like I said, I think there's a misconception that nobody wants to work, and that's why places are closing early or whatever. But there's a lot more than that. Like the gig economy is bigger than it's ever been, and it's not going anywhere. Like Uber and Uber Eats and DoorDash, and that stuff is just it's going to continue to grow
Yeah.
because it's a flexible schedule. It's a flex job. It's like that gig economy is just going to keep growing because it gives people options.
Yep.
It also is better pay than a lot of the jobs in a restaurant or in certain places. And then the other thing is how many people have decided that I don't trust. I guess I'm one of those people, although I didn't lose my job. One of the books I read, and I'm reading right now to kind of motivate me and get me switched over in mindset, is You're a Badass and You're a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And what she talks about is like that idea that like we are all relying on somebody else to pay us to walk into our job and have that job every time we walk in, and that every 2 weeks we're going to get that paycheck. Well, what happens when we don't? What happens when they can't? What happens when they stop doing that or they let you go? I have a buddy, one of my very best friends, is going to be the best man at my wedding. He just lost his job for the fourth time since 2016.
Jeez.
The third time, one was a mutual, like we're not getting along, this doesn't work. And then this is the third time his position has been eliminated.
Wow.
So he is a perfect example of why keep going back to people who clearly think you're dispensable. And I think we learned that a lot at the beginning of the pandemic, that these companies were able to keep on maybe their top level people and keep a skeleton group of people working in some cases, and everyone else was, for lack of a better term, dispensable. And I think a lot of those people have said, you know what, I trust myself in my ability to build a business better than I do in someone else hiring me and being able to keep me consistently being paid. So that's just kind of one of my thoughts about the whole thing.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, all right, well, where are we at in this? Oh, other than almost out of beer, you're gonna have to fill some seconds here in a little bit. So tell us again, you timed out, so we're gonna time back in. Congratulations to the Bucks on their NBA championship. That's amazing.
Yeah. Good job, Giannis. Good job, Middleton.
Look,
No, I mean, it was a good series. It was a fun series to watch. I watched the first 5 games. I did not get to watch. I did not watch Game 6 last night.
This is how many playoff games I watched this year.
0.
Yeah, I don't. We talked about this before,
yeah.
like, but the fact that it was different.
It was fun.
Different teams. That, to me, that's fun. I bet you it wasn't in the ratings, but I don't care.
I'm not. That's a good point. I didn't check the ratings. My guess is due to the lack of sports last year, the ratings probably weren't as bad as they could have been, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a fun series.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun to watch. We actually drove past the stadium in Phoenix the night of Game 5. There were a bunch of people outside. Yeah, we didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah,
we ended up somehow getting that way. But
things
I would not be standing outside in 115 degrees at
Oh
8
Lord.
o'clock at night. Yeah.
Oh God. No. Now Phoenix is notorious for being quite hot, is it not?
Phoenix is very warm, especially in the summer.
Right.
Very, yeah. Our plane Sunday, we got up at 4 a.m. It was already like 90 something degrees outside.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So just looking at that NBA finals, when's the last time somebody that was a star player like Giannis, when's the last time someone did it right and didn't get a bunch of guys to come play with him? I mean, I might say Toronto with Kawhi Leonard and those guys, because those guys kind of came together and they kind of grew together. And Kawhi came to them
hmm
from San Antonio. Um, but maybe
I,
the San Antonio teams, maybe like where they didn't just assemble a super unit. I mean,
I mean, I would say LeBron and going back to Cleveland, like that was not a super team. Kevin Love is
he's not what he was. Yeah.
he could never be your best player
No.
and you win a championship.
Oh God, no.
Kyrie Irving could never be your best
Nope.
player
Nope.
and win a
No.
championship.
And he's proved that, has he not?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I like Kyrie Irving because I'm a Duke fan, so I've always liked Kyrie, but he's a
Oh,
little
I guess we
interesting.
can't be friends anymore. I gotta go.
You're out of here.
Are you a Cameron crazy?
I am a Cameron crazy. I love the Cameron crazies. Now, like last year,
Evil
I didn't
Empire.
watch a single second of college
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
I didn't watch not 1 second. Couldn't care less.
What's this podcast about, by the way?
I don't know. I don't
Life
know.
of basketball.
It's about a lot of things. Sorry guys, we haven't
No,
we haven't
this
talked in
is
a
what
while.
we needed,
So
because you and I have barely. Yeah, I've actually probably talked, at least on text. I probably texted with John a little bit more the last couple of weeks, because you were on vacation. I was like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna let him be and stop being a
and it was an odd time difference too. We're 3 hours
3 hours. Yeah.
3 hours apart, so
Like,
that definitely makes a difference.
woo!
Nice shirt.
Nature Boy. That's a Meyer special right there, but that's a darn good shirt.
It looks vintage.
It is not at all.
It is not. Well, hey,
If this was vintage, I wouldn't be wearing it. Could be worth hundreds of dollars. But
it'd be in your eBay store.
Polo,
There you go.
yeah, no, it wouldn't. It'd be sold already.
I think you're right about that. I think you're right.
So let's talk, Gabe, before the timeout. So we're back in.
Okay.
I asked you about the garage sales out there. Like, what was that like out in? I know you weren't in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like Breaking Bad, but man, the pictures you sent and your video, I'm like, this is literally, where is the RV? Because
It's the
Walter
same.
White is around here somewhere.
It's got to be same type of thing. Scenery for sure.
That is good beer.
The sales were interesting. Obviously, being on vacation, I didn't get to do like a real, full weekend or anything like that of sales. So the first sale that you were talking about was a complete surprise to all of us. We were in Tucson. We were heading to Saguaro National Park, and we saw a garage sale sign, and of course we had to stop.
Was that first day in?
Second day. So
Because you
we
flew in late.
yeah, we flew in late. So yeah, we flew in, slept, got up the next day,
Gotcha.
drove to Tucson for that park. And that sale, I believe it was called Chet's Emporium or Chester's Emporium.
Oh, he had a name.
Oh yeah, he had a name. My camera work was not very good, so I apologize. But
I don't think you can make that much better.
well, the one thing that would have made it better, so someone on my YouTube video, his comment was if Mad Max had a yard sale. And I was like, oh, that's the title.
Man, that
Damn
was
it.
the viral video.
that was the title, because that is.
Well, you can change your title, right?
Yeah, but it's too late now.
Is it? Okay.
Probably. Yeah. I think you have to change it within like the first couple of hours of the video. Really, I don't know. I could try it.
I've
I'll
always
try it.
noticed. I've always noticed that with big YouTube guys. One that I watched, bass player Davey 504. I'll see a video and then later on I'm like, that was not what that was titled before. And the guy's got almost 10 million viewers or
Yours, yeah.
subscribers. Sorry, not viewers, subscribers. But anyway,
Yeah, it
love his
was
paycheck.
a ridiculous yard sale.
Were there
Just
tumbleweeds? Because that would have been,
I didn't see any
if there were
tumbleweeds.
tumbleweed like going,
Didn't see. Oh man,
that
that would
would
have
have
been
just
fantastic.
that would have been the opening of the video.
Tumbleweed rolling past the doll's head. Yeah, there was just. I mean, we didn't buy anything
Yeah,
because why? Why would you? Um,
covered in dirt and dust.
Everything was covered in dust. Like it was just an absolute mess. But I mean, I talked to him briefly. I'm like, hey, do you have a lot of people coming out? He's like, well, not when it's this hot. He said people typically are looking for something in particular. They'll stop by.
Like, you got a tarp, a shovel, and some rope.
Yeah, and a doll.
And a doll.
And a doll, yeah.
God.
So yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
But then um, while we were staying in Sedona is a very expensive place to live.
Okay.
It's a very upscale place. So I figured, there could be a couple decent sales here. And again, like I said, I was able to fill up a suitcase with stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one sale, a girl was moving to Peru.
Oh wow.
And it was a really cool sale. It was very, very pretty where they had the sale at. They didn't have any prices on anything,
I hate that.
and they were very, very karma dharma based. So I was like, I don't want to lowball any offer, so I'm just not going to buy anything
Yeah.
at this one.
Yeah.
But they were very cool. They were very nice people. Yeah,
Yeah.
but didn't buy anything there. So I mean, we were able to hit. I want to say we hit probably 10 or 12 sales overall.
Okay.
We weren't able to get up or get out early enough on Saturday to really hit anything.
Yeah.
I hit a couple on that day, but really didn't find much. But overall, I think if I had some actual time to source out there, it could be pretty cool. And I did have one really good sale where I got all the magnets.
Oh, those were cool.
Yeah, and the
Those
sports
were
stuff that was very cool. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Thrift stores are a little pricey in Sedona, so
Was that?
a
Oh,
little
yeah.
pricey.
That video, the video you had with the lightning.
Yes,
I was like, see that lightning? I think I put it on Facebook. I was like, that lightning said,
don't
"Don't
go.
go to Goodwill."
Don't
And
do it.
didn't listen.
I had to keep going. Had to keep going. No, that drive was so cool though. Like
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
And the lightning looks more um, it looks more dubious than it actually was.
I
So
saw
like
the video. The video is different.
yeah, the video is very different. So I had the GoPro recording as I was driving, and then as I was going through and editing, I slowed down the video and got it as big as I could, and then took a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it look so amazing. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was just a little lightning strike, in all honesty. But
Yeah. That's awesome. So during that time then out there, and what would you say was your best find out there?
definitely the rubber magnets.
Yeah.
Do
Vintage?
we? Let's see here. Can we share screens on here? Does that work?
I have no idea. You probably, you know what, you can. I just
Looks like
don't.
you have it disabled, I think.
Yeah. Share screen. I don't want to share my screen. I know that. Let's see. Advanced. Oh, look at all these things you can do on this. I can allow I'm just trying to figure out where it is. Advanced one participant. Advanced sharing. All participants. Sharing. Here, I think you should be able to share now if you want.
Okay. Cool.
I think.
Let's see. Let's try it. Work in progress, people. Work in progress.
Right. That's what this is about.
That's right.
Everything we're doing.
Now, I don't know if the sharing shows up in the record or not, so we'll
I
see.
believe it does. If I'm
might
not
be
mistaken,
off
it
to the
does.
side.
Yeah.
All right. So can you see my screen then, Tony?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So at one of the sales we went to, actually it's an old lady, and it was the place was a retirement home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I guess it's no longer a retirement home. And I guess she owns the place. The person that was leasing it ended up having to back out of their lease. So anyway, that doesn't really matter. She had purchased a sports store. She said back in the 70s, and she had all these things still just sitting around.
I never watched your video. Dang it. I that title is in my head, but I never clicked on that one.
Well, hey, when you get done, if you're bored, take a look, or this is the Cliff Notes version. So this is all you really need to know about it. And so she had all these magnets. So she had them at 25 cents a piece. So I've got 4 of these boards, and then I had a bunch of extra loose ones. So I started listing these yesterday. I listed.
There it is.
I think I listed all of them. I listed a bunch of them individually, and then I did, I think, 3 or 4 lots. So I did one lot as a buy it now, which is this one, for 60, and I took an offer of 55. It was like almost instantly that they sent the offer.
Oh, you sold? Oh, you sold?
This one's sold already.
Wow.
That one's sold. The other 2 I did as auctions. I was just trying to mess around because I've never done these before, so I wanted to kind of go both ways and see, what would happen.
Yeah.
Both of those auctions I think are both up to around 42 or 45 at this point. So these were quarter a piece. I paid 21. I think it was 21.75 for all of them. So definitely the best find out there. It's doing very well.
That's awesome. What do you need, Luca? Come down here. Daddy can't hear well enough to know what you're saying. You need a bath?
Oh, he needs a bath.
I'm in the middle of something, sir. You'll get a bath in a little while.
I don't think we can put that on YouTube.
No, sir. All right. Well, so that was your find. That was your find of the of at least a week down on while you were gone there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've been sourcing whenever I can. I've been running around to thrift stores. I've done really well lately. Thrift stores and some garage sales. I've actually been more inclined to go to thrift stores lately than garage sales, and I just think it's based on the time of day and the days of the week that I'm available. Am I kicking? Is it this? I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm literally just hitting that corner of that paper, and it sounds like I'm kicking something. Excellent.
It does. Yes.
I am a nervous person, so if you hear things, it's usually my foot, or I'm like I'm doing some. I'm making noises. My apologies. I got a very hot mic here.
Hey, all good.
So my finds of the week. I'll go. Garage sale Jack and I went to last weekend. I saw it started at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and I was like, maybe it was either Friday or Saturday. Hey, buddy, you want to come say hi to everybody? Come here. Yes. Say hi.
What's up?
Remember Brennan? No, because you were sleeping.
Yeah, you were knocked out, man. You missed all the fun.
As a cranky boy.
Yeah.
So anyway, you want to go play?
Yeah. Is that an upside down Jack Johnson shirt or Curious George? Curious George?
All I know is it's Curious George goes bananas.
That's awesome.
So Oh, don't worry about that, honey. You go back upstairs so I can finish my podcast. No,
This is for one for my
I knew he was gonna find that. For $2, I bought this Moana boat,
Ah,
and it's got. Hold on, let me see it. It's got the.
oh, that's
I don't know
awesome.
where it goes, but oh, here. And he is obsessed with Moana, and I just brought it in the house, and he just found it.
Ah,
$2.
you're welcome.
That sells for about $25. So
Oh, nice.
that's not staying here. I've done too many of the. I've given him too many things that I've purchased for a profit. Honey, you leave that
Yep.
boat right there. Okay. You want to use Moana? She doesn't have any clothes. Anyways, so my find of the week, we went to garage sale 10 o'clock last Saturday, or the Saturday prior, and I walked up, and the first thing I saw as soon as I got out of the car was I saw a Rock Band drum set.
Yes.
And so I walked up, and he had a guitar and a drum set, and he had 6 games, and the microphone, the kick pedal. Only thing he did not have, unfortunately, was the dongle that goes to the guitar. That thing sells for like $75 to $100 alone.
Which system was it again?
PS3.
Okay.
And the guitar I found, so I paid $40. He had 40 listed. I was just like, I'm gonna buy it because I think I can easily make my money here. The guitar is from a game called Warriors. I think it's called Warriors of Rock, and it's a really different looking guitar, and I had not seen it before. And so I was really excited to get that. And it looks like if I had the dongle, that guitar with the dongle sells for like between 100 and 150, I think. So I don't have the dongle, unfortunately, but I still think that guitar is going to bring in a good amount of money. I think the drum set alone seems to bring in a really good amount of money, and it came with six of the games. So and it was Rock Band and Guitar Hero, so it's kind of a hodgepodge. But for $40, I was really happy with that buy. And then yesterday I was at. Oh, you're going to show mommy what you got? Okay. There it goes. There goes my $25. Anyways, yesterday I went to Valley Thrift, and I went to a huge rummage sale, and it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And there were some ridiculous prices, and there were some good prices, and then it was just too much stuff. I couldn't, like, I literally had a headache when I left. But I went to Valley Thrift after that. I found a printer, a Brother printer, MFC J475DW. Let me look this up again because I can't remember the sold comps. I paid $12.99 for it, Brother. And the sold comps, there was another one there that was like an HP, like a Pro, but knowing Brother seems to be a higher quality printer, if I'm not mistaken, than any of the other ones.
Like it was pretty good.
Yeah. So looking at this one, I paid $12.99. I plugged it in. It works. It has ink in it still. And the sold comps on this guy, which, because I'm going full time, I decided I'm getting back. I'm gonna start having more time and making a habit of listing the electronics, because I think a lot of people who have really big sales, I've noticed a lot of them are they're heavily into electronic stuff. Not everybody, but
Yeah.
there are some that make some really good on like I bought. I'll just show you this while I'm sitting here. I bought this Mr. Coffee like latte machine, and it still has like the stuff in the package on the top. I bought this for $10.99, and I mean, I think that'll sell for, I don't know, $50 to $100. So like,
Wow.
there's
Jeez.
like there are things that to look out for, I guess. And
Yeah.
so dang it, I got sidetracked. So this printer will sell the highest one, 199, 85, 75, 79. And this is all with shipping is on top. So for $12.99, as long as it works, you know, I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy with that. So that was a really good pickup I found yesterday, among some other really good stuff I found lately
It's awesome.
at the thrift stores. Oh, I actually forgot about this. Hold up, I got another one.
Oh
This is
man.
this is gonna be the longest podcast ever, and it's just me walking around my basement looking for. Darn it! I gotta give that kid a bath tonight. Oh, here it is. So this is really interesting. I sent a picture of this to John. I found this at Goodwill on my way home from the other Goodwills in Valley Thrift. I stopped at the one that's not so good close to my house.
The not so Goodwill.
And it's not so Goodwill. And I found this for $1.99. It's called The Game of Self-Knowledge. And I now this is brand new. And this is just with the UPC, but it's 180, 185. And so if I typed in the game of self-knowledge, because there's more comps than that. So it'll go, I think it'll go between 50 and 100. I think that 175 is a little high.
Yeah.
It's listed incredibly high by most people. And I haven't looked yet to see if everything's in there, but Bolo, what?
Yeah, $2.
No idea. No, I
The
never
game
heard.
is-
It looked interesting. And I think that a lot of times as a reseller, maybe this will be my tip of the week. Like if you're a reseller, you're new, or you're part-time, not always, but a lot of times things that look unique or look different or weird or off the wall, a lot of times those things have a lot of value.
Yep.
And there's clearly there's going to be things that surprise you that are very bland and plain that also have a lot of value. But if you're just starting out, that might be a good thing. You know, if something catches your eye as being a little different, maybe a little more unique than everything else that's sitting there, take a look at it. Look it up on your phone. I know there's people out there that are resellers who are like, oh, thrift store prices are high because you guys look at your phones when you're there. Well, guess what? I'm going to keep doing it because I need to learn how to do it. and yes, there are thrift store prices that are high, like the Skittle Bowl I found at Valley Thrift was $30. And I was like, knowing that that's all taped up and with
Not knowing what's in there.
knowing what's in there, I said, I am not paying $30. And they've got some crazy prices on stuff there. And then they've got ridiculous. I bought a electronic typewriter, a Brother electronic typewriter yesterday for $1.99.
Oh wow.
Valley Thrift. And it's not in great condition, but I plugged it in and it types. It works. So $1.99. If it doesn't work, I lose $1.99. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's like buying a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
I will say that the reason thrift store prices are high, it's not because we're looking things up on our phone. It's because the thrift stores do the same thing that we do.
Mhm.
If you
Just not
look
as good at it.
right, if you look, Goodwill has Goodwill auctions. Goodwill has eBay stuff. They sell things online, so they are doing the exact same things that we do.
Yep.
It's just some things slip through, some things they let go on the shelves. But that's the reason lots of prices are high at thrift stores, in my opinion, at least. That's my understanding. So
I agree with that too, because it's more public, with the rise or the increase in YouTube. Let's talk about that. The reselling community on YouTube is quite large, and more people are starting channels. And I'm one of those people who are fairly new to this, and I'm trying to build a channel. And I've had some thoughts that, okay, maybe it's an oversaturated market, but good content is good content, similar to good product is good product. And I can't say that what I have is good content yet. I think it is, but I don't know that yet, and I've got a lot to learn. I've got a lot of ideas. I'm trying to figure out, and I think you've tried to do this too. How do you make yourself different from the other ones?
Right.
Like I've noticed, like for you, you ask a question in most of yours, and that's a little different than like you're trying to like, what's my little niche? What's the one
Yep.
thing that can set me apart from another guy? Like I'm kind of like I've been recording myself pulling orders. Well, I decided I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll sit down and go through my orders a little bit differently, and I'll talk about, I want to talk about how much I paid, how much I sold it for, what it looked like, not on every item, but what it looked like with shipping and fees, and what's my return on investment on certain items and things like
Yep.
that. So like I want to do things a little bit differently, and some people do that, but
Yep.
but I decided like I can't just be like what John does or what Lonnie has done. And even Lonnie is to the point with shed flips where he's like, this isn't working for me anymore. I want to do something different. I want to do it a different way. And so I'm trying to think in my head, how do I make myself different from all of these other people? Because everybody is starting a channel. So, the advent of YouTube is another reason I think that your prices have gone up. And it's not that you're looking stuff up on your phone. And there's going to be your people who believe that. And looking at our demographics, I'm sure there are people who believe that listen to the show, and we're all entitled to our opinion. The thing is, we don't know. None of us know. These are all our educated or uneducated guesses.
Yeah.
So anyways, I've found some great stuff that's been way underpriced too. So
yeah, you're always going to be able to find things. It's just it's just a
sometimes
little
it's
bit harder.
disappointing when you find
Yeah.
something really good and you're like, sweet, and you're like, what?
Nope.
$50? That's literally how much it sells for.
Yeah.
So anyways, have you had any big sales in the last couple of weeks to talk about?
I have actually. I was actually getting ready to do this. I was going to add on to my latest YouTube video and kind of go through some of these sales, but I'm going to give them to you guys here first. Well, probably not first because the other video
It won't come out first.
so it probably won't come out first. But anyway, let's see. Well, let me do this again. Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
We can.
Sweet.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. So this one was really surprising on all levels.
Yeah.
So I bought this for $1. Is at a yard sale. It was one I almost drove past because it didn't look like much of anything. So I really have to get out of the mindset of driving past yard sale. So
I've done
I went
it.
to this one. I've done it so many times, and I know I should not. I was looking around, and there was this bin of books, and I kind of flipped through, and I saw this. I'm like, this looks weird. So I grabbed it. I looked it up, and there was one that sold for like $150, and I'm like, why? Because all the other ones had sold for like $24. And I still don't know why this sold for as much as it did, but I listed it. I was like, well, you know what? One sold high, so I took your advice and listed high. I listed at 200, not expecting to get anywhere near that amount. But yeah, I got an offer of 150, took it right away, and it's gone. So this is the first 6 books of the Elements of Euclid. I believe it is.
Is it mathematics or something?
Yeah, it's a mathematics book.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, who's not familiar with the first famous sentences and uncut off
Euclid's Elements.
Right? I mean, everyone.
Can that be the title of our podcast? No,
Who's not
I want
familiar?
to listen.
Yeah, no, we want listeners there. But apparently, what's the brand? So this Taschen. Apparently that is a good brand to look for. So that'll be my bolo. If you see, Taschen at sales or in stores, at the very least, it's going to be worth looking it up.
And that's a book publisher?
I believe so. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Taschen is the publisher. So this is by Oliver Byrne, and it is I mean, it's it's like a little box set here.
That's really
So
cool.
yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It was a very cool set. I couldn't believe it. So that was a really nice sale. Obviously, $1 to 150. I won't go through all of these sales here, but
Did you check the comp on that while you were there, or did you
I
just
did not.
grab it?
I just grabbed it because it was $1, and it looked interesting enough
Wow.
at that price. Like, yeah, I'll take a shot on that one. So yeah, that was a complete guess, kind of luck into it. Oops, sorry. I don't remember if I told you about. I think I told you about that watch. I don't know if I ever showed you that it sold.
I remember when you got it, I think.
Let's see, yeah, it's a pretty sweet watch.
Yeah.
What the heck am I doing here? So Casio Mudmaster, whatever. I don't know. It was a really cool watch, and it sold for 160. I think I paid 25
Wow.
for that one. I don't know a lot about watches, and I don't buy them very often, but it was a day that it was a ton of rain, and I was like, well, I'm probably not going to find a whole lot. So this looks interesting. Let's go ahead and take a shot.
Very cool.
He actually had an Amazon piece of paper in the bag, kind of showing like what it sold for. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna take his word for it, and we'll take a shot. So we'll see. The last one I'll talk about is this American Girl doll bed.
Wow.
And American Girl dolls, the dolls are very difficult. But if you're at a sale, you see dolls, and then you see things like this, the accessories are much easier to pinpoint and figure out what it is than the dolls are.
Very true.
And the vintage accessories do very well. So this bed was $3. It comes apart. It's not a huge deal, but it sold for 65. So that's
Very
just
cool.
something to kind of keep an eye out for.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very
So yeah,
cool.
those would be my sales.
All right, I'm gonna go through my sales. First was I showed you the other day, and you could probably see these all. I think all of these, or most of all of these, have been on my Instagram. So Flip It DU on Instagram. You can go check these out. Just the other day, I had a Moana Funko mystery mini lot that I had purchased. So I bought this lot, a big lot of Moana stuff for Luca because he loves it. Clearly, he's taken Moana's boat and has stolen my profits. So there was this Moana Funko mystery mini lot inside of the lot of stuff I bought. I paid 15 for the whole lot. It also came with the big Maui and his hook and the Moana doll, and those sell for, the Maui sells for $25 to $30 itself, which he kept that. There were some other small figures, he kept those. But this mini lot I sold the other day. Someone bought it, $85 for the lot of these little Funko mystery minis via global shipping. And so he got the things he wanted, which also had really good value. I paid 15 total for it. And I also sold an individual figure, a little one of the pig, Pua, I think his name is, or her name is, whatever, for 15. And then I have Tamatoa. I had doubles of those. So I have Tamatoa, the crab. I have him listed for $25 right now also. So that was an excellent purchase of something I was getting for him that had a lot of value in it. And I did not know that when I bought it. So that was
awesome.
really cool. That just sold. And then back in the day, one of these earlier episodes, I had sold a Disney monorail set in the box, and it got returned. The guy was upset about the way the styrofoam, he was upset that the styrofoam wasn't in as good of condition as he thought, and it should have been notated better in the description. Okay. So I know it's a big collectible market. So what I did is, it had sold for 150 previously. It got returned. I just let it sit for a while. Like, I don't want to touch that thing. So I changed the item description to talk about the styrofoam and talk a little bit more about the things he complained about. And then I put it on an auction starting at 75, and that sold for $120.50 plus shipping. So that went. And
Nice.
then another one, and that was in a big lot of stuff I bought for $90. So I sold the Polynesian resort for $375. I sold the other resort, contemporary resort, for $150. I sold this for $120.50. I sold the little minifigures recently for $35. I sold one set of like a set of two curved tracks for $40, and a set of two straight tracks, or one or the other, for like $20. So I've had really, really good, and I still have one train and full set left that I didn't like the way it worked. I bought a new engine or new motor for it to install to supercharge it, because those sell for more, and I don't want to put the work in, so I'm going to just sell it as is. I bet you I can get $50 for that. So for $90, that whole lot, that's a really good return on investment. I've been happy about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this was, I've had really good sales recently. So
Yeah.
another sale I had this Lionel North Pole Central train cars, and I've got the big box back here, but I had a family member of Christy sent me these after her dad had passed away. She sent them out to me, and I sold the Dasher, Dancer, and Prancer like passenger cars for $50 a piece. So it was $150 sale total, and that was given to me for free. So that was a good, no investment into that. Just a very good family member. And then so that went well, and I've got positive feedback on that one. And then
Nice.
one that's currently en route to Australia is that KISS program.
Nice.
I paid $3 for that KISS 1976 KISS program. I countered offered a guy a long time ago right away. He offered 200. I countered offered, tried to get more. I ended up selling it for 195. So still $3 to 195. That was awesome. I added insurance on that as well, I believe. And then also, right after that, same day, I found the Cardinal WWF trivia game, my best sale ever, $400. I paid $1 for the box. I still have the second set over here, which I still think I can get between 50 and 100 for whenever that sells. I got to lower the price on that though.
So it's like $600 out of $4.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's
that's awesome.
I'm really happy. So I added insurance on that too.
Yep.
So anyway, so those are my top sales. Best sale I've ever had, best return on investment clearly that I've ever had. So those are my sales. Let's move on real quick to Bolo. I've got to get the kid in the bath here soon, but
yeah,
it's bedtime.
I got nothing.
Bolo. So one of the things I wanted to say, I typed this out before. Our mission when we set out on this podcast adventure was really to help educate our listeners, whether or not they're resellers, whether they're part-time or full-time, or like I said, neither, or dabbling. I don't believe I've done a good job with the Bolos, and I think this is one place that we can be more educational in our content for people. So I'm going to make it a personal goal for myself to improve this section of the show moving forward between the Bolo and the tip. I think those are really important. We can talk a lot about what we found and what our sales were. And yes, that also is educational in itself if you take that information and you're looking for those things. But I think we can do a better job, me especially, in both the Bolo and the tips. So the Bolo that I'm gonna go with, I kind of sent a picture to you recently of the 1990s. I don't know if this is what you think it is. 1990s, 80s. There were these old Playtex baby bottles, and I think they're called like drop-ins.
Yep.
Drop-ins. Look up Playtex drop-in baby bottle vintage or something. It's
crazy.
Outrageous. It's those dark, I'm colorblind, but the dark brown like nipples that go on that sounds ridiculous, nipples that go on the bottle, and it drops down in, and then there's a bag right that holds the milk inside of the bottle. That's what I grew up on, and if you see those, they have value.
Yeah.
go type that into your little your eBay machine and check the sold comps on that, because I was shocked. Christy's dad brought a bunch over from their from her grandmother's house. He's living there now. She passed a few years ago, and he brought those over, and they've just been sitting around the house in the kitchen. I was like, let me see if I'm just gonna look this up, and I did, and I could not believe it. Because I
Yeah,
got one that I think I showed you. I have the exact one that sold for like $75. One
Yeah.
box.
it's crazy. I've been looking for them ever since.
Yeah,
Um,
because
yeah,
that's
no,
something that could happen. You could
yeah,
find this easily.
and it's one of those things too. It's like, okay, so now I'm not going to drive past baby garage sales
Right.
because of that.
There's so much stuff that
Yeah,
that people will pay money for.
yeah. That is a fantastic bolo. I think I sent that to John in our group, and I was like, yeah, I officially know nothing about reselling anymore,
Yeah.
because baby bottles are, there are tons of value there. So
Crazy.
yeah, that's an awesome bolo.
Yeah. What do you have? You have a specific bolo this week? Did you already? Or did you
Yeah, I
already-
gave it. So mine was the Toshin.
Yes, that's
The
right.
Toshin. What's the word? Yes.
School books.
Publisher. The Toshin publisher books. Yes. So that was my bolo to look out for. Again, this is the only one that I found. But once I found this one and sold it, and I put that video out, there were a lot of people saying that is a really good brand to be looking out for. So
Yeah, I'm looking right now at the oh, wow. There's some good stuff there.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
there's some really good stuff from Toshin.
Book series on Monet. Woo. A box set on Monet, $375. Hugh Hefner's Playboy, 1926 to 79 box set, $450. Goodness, Giselle, a book about Giselle.
These must be like high-end coffee table type books.
All right, they have to be. I'm gonna send you this one, but this can't be shown on the television here, the YouTube machine here.
Can't be shown on the YouTube machine.
No, sir, it cannot. All right, moving on, do you have a tip of the week? My God.
Let's see. Tip of the week. No.
Nah, I got nothing.
Tip of the week. Great Lakes beer. It's very good. It's from Cleveland. Cleveland rocks. That is my tip of the week.
Cleveland rocks. All right, let's see. Okay, so tip of the week. I think I'll hope you enjoy.
That is hilarious. Oh, we could well, no, maybe not.
Now let's not.
Let's not.
Let me look at my demographics again.
Yeah, let's not. If you really want to see, you can send an email, and
that's right.
maybe we can send it there. I don't
know. Anyways, so basically what I've learned over the past couple of weeks is that if you are passionate about something, somebody else around you, other people are going to allow their fear and their discomfort in your decision making. They're going to put that out there. They're going to push that upon you. It's like when we're born, we don't fear anything. Well, how do we start to fear things? Well, we're taught that by the people that we're around. And so when you're making a big decision like I'm making to change my career and to do something that's very non-traditional, there have been people who have said, are you going to make enough money? Or, oh, I don't know, does this make sense to do this now? Or da 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 da. So my advice is, this is from also kind of from my book from Jen Sincero. She said, like, you got to have faith, like belief in yourself and belief in what's going on in the universe or in the world, whatever you want to say, to just go out and do it and make your decision and stick with your decision. And so this is a quote: faith allows you to release the need to know how it's going to happen, to trust that the way will be shown, and to take action before having all the answers laid out before you. And I think that is excellent advice. We aren't always going to know exactly what to do. And that could be reselling, that could be life in general. You don't have to know the how. We want to know the how, but you don't have to. You've sometimes, the people who have been most successful in business take a leap of faith, and they go out there and they invest everything they have, and they become successful. You know, John threw a video on YouTube, and now, like, I went and watched his first video recently. Like, it's not the same as his videos now at all, you know. And
You're
like,
so kind. It's terrible, John. It was terrible. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
everybody go watch that. We need to bump it,
Yes,
bump up
everyone go watch
his
his first video.
analytics by 50 listeners, 50 viewers.
That's right.
Us included. But anyways, that's my tip tip of the week. Just
So,
have faith in yourself. Once you've made a decision, get out there and do it. Other people are going to try to derail you from that, and it's your decision. It's not theirs. Don't allow someone else's fear to change your mind when you know
Yeah.
what's right for you.
yeah, that's a really good tip. And I'll piggyback off that. I didn't really have a tip, but you mentioned something about is it traditional? And I would say that my tip is non-traditional is becoming the traditional at this point.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
you know, if you were one that always thinks outside the box, keep thinking outside the box, because the box it's pretty much gone.
Yep.
When you
Yep.
think of just anything traditional, the way things work, everything's changing. So
Yeah,
I would
I
say
read the
that.
article today about the gig economy. That's where I got some of that info. Like, there was an article about that today. And that's why I'm going to be starting over time here. I'm going to be starting a side hustle coaching business. I really think that, I read that statistic, over 50% of millennials and younger have a side hustle. And I asked a guy this weekend, he's a friend of ours, took pictures for us for the baby. And he does it on the side. He works at the Patterson Air Force Base as a contractor, and he does this on the side. And I said, I'm just curious. I've got this question about side hustles. I said, how many people your age do you think have one? Because he's about Christy's age, so about 8 years younger, 7 years younger than I am. And he's like, everybody who's doing it right. If they're doing it right, he's like, everybody I know has a side hustle. If they're not, and they're just lazy and they're just working their one job, he's like, but so many people. And so it just validates for me, this is what I need to be doing, beyond what, this is just another extension of this reselling. It's another option that I have to get out there and help people to realize their potential, realize what they want to do with their lives, and make it happen. So,
Yep. Awesome.
Well,
Awesome
I got to
stuff.
give a kid a bath, and it was really good to be back. And finally, The Rock has come back to the podcast world. We appreciate each and every one of our listeners. The podcast is slowly growing, but we do see it growing, and we hope that if you like the podcast, don't be afraid to pass it on to a friend. So, Brennan, until next time, tell everybody, as we always do, remember to flip it
curiously.
Hey-o!
Got it right
All
again.
All right, guys, we will see you next time.
See you guys.